Well, hello and welcome back to another video. Today you join me testing out two different items. Now, we've got the Smollie here and we've got the regular old bike inner tube. Now, if you've been watching my short content for a while, you'll know that I did a video with the bike inner tube just flying up and down this pool right here. And the company Smollie reached out to me and said, I want you to try our version of it, which is basically this little strap with two handles. Now, this is meant to be to help beginners lock down their tricks and boost them up a bit higher. This can be used for a bit of fun and a bit of confidence boosting. We're going to find out which one is better because the price is extremely different, so let's get into it. So we're going to start with the Smollie. I'm going to show you what this thing's all about, as that's why you clicked on this video, and then we're going to go to the inner tube, which might just be a hell of a lot cheaper, a lot more fun, and just a better option all round for some, but this also might work, so we'll see which one's which. This one cost me £5, which is about $6.50 right there, and this one is about £30, maybe about $40. So I'll put the exact price that they are now on screen, but we're going to start with the Smollie and then get to the inner tube after. So the way that I did this in my original video, when I did a short of this, I basically just tried to do it completely by trying to figure it out myself, but I was totally wrong. I'll show a few clips on screen of how I did have it. Accidentally did it completely wrong. However, that actually turned out to be better than how you're meant to put it on. But what you're meant to do is give yourself a nice bit of room here, pull it over the truck like this, over one wheel, over the other wheel. So now you've got, you straighten this out. So now you've got this, right? So you've got it round the truck and it just goes over the top like that. Next, we're gonna flip it over. So we've got this bit coming out over here. So now this is what you want to look like. You want to have one straight line all the way down the middle. Now we just need to get it over the other truck, but you don't stretch it all the way over just yet. You grab this, put it over one wheel, over the other wheel, and then once you've got it flipped over to here, that's when you stretch it out over the edge. Just extend that so it's nice and straight, and then you pull it up and over. Gets a lot easier as you do it, and there we go. That is how the Smollie is supposed to look. Now, originally, when they sent me this, I thought it was going to be a similar thing where it was just like for fun, like how we did with the inner tube, where we wrapped the inner tube round and basically just strapped our feet into the board, give us a bit more confidence with jumping around, doing 360s and stuff like that, which is really fun with the inner tube. But this, not quite the same. This is for more beginners trying to help get a bit more height on their tricks. I'm going to talk you through what happens. So like I said, instead of strapping our feet in, this is meant to be a more, what's the word, like safe way of getting your feet back out again if things go wrong. Because you think about it with the inner tube version, yeah, your feet are strapped in and that's great for jumping up super high. If you get like caught up in it, it's going to be a bit more difficult because your feet are strapped into the board. While I like that about the inner tube, I can see why people would like both sides of things. So we're going to start with this and I'm going to show you how it helps your ollies. So originally I thought it was going to be similar to the inner tube, where you just put your feet under and jump up and have it come up with you. That's not the case. That's a recipe for disaster with this thing because it doesn't stay fully under your feet, and the strap being slightly elevated over the skateboard means that if you jump up and your feet aren't directly underneath it, your foot will like start here and slide down to here, so it's just your toes and it becomes a bit sketchy. So what you're supposed to do is just do a trick as you would normally do it. Say if you're learning how to ollie or 180, obviously it's not going to work for shove-its or kickflips or anything like that, but if you're learning to ollie or 180, you want to do it just as you normally would, and this will help keep the board underneath your feet. Now, do I think beginners actually need something like this? To be honest, yeah, it can help bring it up a bit if you're a bit, what's the word? If you're a bit of a noob still, which by the way, there's nothing wrong with being a noob. We're all there at some point, but you're not really popping off the floor. Like if you notice that when you do a trick without it, I'll put one on screen now. You get a nice slap of the tail off the ground. This is kind of stopping that from happening because of the material under the tail. How there's no pop, you hear that? Let's do a few more. Like the pop, it's just not really there. And I feel like the board constantly moving around underneath you because you're kind of relying on the strap. A lot of times you can have your feet in a good position, but then the strap moves where they are. Like just because when you come up, normally you would have more freedom on the way up. This kind of stops you in place a little bit and stops you from being able to jump too high off the board. Now, what I might do is I might add a section in here where I bring this up to the park later in the day where a few of my friends that are still learning their 180s and stuff nicely, and get them to try it and see what their thought is on it. But for now, all I can do is give you my 2 cents on the whole thing. So like I said, my big issue with it is that when you pop, you can have your feet like this, but oftentimes because of the way it goes up like that and like moves, your feet slide down like this and you end up just with your toes on the board, which can be a bit more dangerous because the board can flip up and hit you in the shin, which is what happened to me on my first practice session with it, and it really bloody hurt. Or you can try and pop, but because this is on your tail, you're not going to get the wood against the concrete. You're going to get this nerfed fabric feel. See what I mean? You're not going to get the real feeling of a nice ollie, to the point where I think you would probably be better off just practicing without it, because the moment you take it off, it's going to feel different anyway. But I'm going to get the opinion of the guys later and see what they say about it.
A few hours later.
So you're meant to do the tricks as you normally would. So if you were to do a front 180, you would do it just as you normally would do a front 180. It's just meant to give you a bit of a confidence boost. So as someone that's recently just learnt 180s, you can tell me exactly if that is true or not.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say so.
Give it at least a few tries, like a 5-minute session. That is a problem that I had, the feet getting tangled up in it if you want to bail off.
Yeah.
One of their selling points was like, oh, this is better than the inner tube because you can take your feet off when you need to. But I feel like, at least with the inner tube, you know you're stuck in. This one kind of gets you tangled up. Is there much point getting used to it though, when you've just got to take it off anyway to do it properly?
Yeah, no.
Exactly.
I wouldn't say so.
What would you give it out of 10 for beginner usefulness?
Probably like a 6.
6 out of 10?
Yeah.
That's not bad, that's respectable. Yeah, I can see a use case for it, but I think for most people it's just not going to be good enough. It's going to hinder you more than it's going to help.
Yeah. No.
And especially after seeing you get your feet tangled up like 3 times. That happened to me, and I fucking hurt my shin so bad. It was not ideal.
Yeah, no.
But that's obviously not just me. That happens with any and everyone, apparently.
It's just awkward. Yeah. That happens.
And yeah, it always comes off as well. So yeah, I think that does it for this section. Let's get back to the main video. Would you give it a different rating now that you know the price of it?
Yeah, 3.
There you go. Now, I've already gone over how it feels for like a beginner and stuff like that, but what we're going to do now is see if it can just be used for a bit of extra fun. Because when I did the inner tube, I feel like that is more of like a gimmick way just to have more fun. This is supposed to be to help beginners, and while a lot of the comments on the original video did say, oh, this would really help me, we found out now from the guys at the park what their thought process is. I don't know what that is yet because I'm still filming in the morning, but they either loved it or they hated it, but you guys know more than I do. But for a bit of fun, is it any good just for like zooming around the skate park, keeping the board attached to your feet? When the board constantly moves underneath me, I don't know if you can see it there, the board like moving behind my feet. See how like the board travels forward? I just don't think that this is as good as most people might think it was going to be, or that it's really going to help beginners in any meaningful way, in my personal opinion, but I could have been wrong. Anyway, what we're going to do now, take this bad boy off, stick the inner tube on, and compare the two. Right, now let's bust out the old inner tube. A tale as old as time. Now, a few people, when I was comparing the two in the video, were like, oh, an inner tube, they're like 25 quid anyway, or like $25 anyway. I was like, bro, this thing literally costs £5. Like, you're going to the wrong place if you're paying 20 bob for an inner tube, and like 20 quid, it's like $30 nearly, maybe like 26, 27. But yeah, seriously, you're going to the wrong places, man. Go to a tool shop or something like that where people actually don't get ripped off. So for this one, you put it over both trucks, so like the inner tubes are under the wheels, and then you pull it up, twist it round like this. So it's like a, you know, they twist over each other. You put it over the tail, and on the other side, you do the exact same, which will tighten it up on both ends. So grab it like that, put that over there, and now you've got two foot straps. And like I said, this isn't going to help beginners learn how to do any meaningful tricks, but it at least is a bit of fun. Now, my friend James, who's one of our local proteges on my team Escapism, did a fucking front flip out of the ramp on this. That's it, and he goes and sends a front flip. I can't give him any less than 5. Maybe that helped him train the confidence to do a front flip on a normal board, only time will tell, but still, pretty impressive nonetheless. But this, like I said, is more about fun. Maybe you want to just learn to get your 180s so you can actually land on the board and do that. I don't know if that's going to help a beginner. I'm far removed from being a beginner at this stage, but you can really stomp some tricks on this bad boy, and I still have the confidence to go down the ramps. And just jump out the top. Obviously, a beginner's not going to be really jumping out the quarter pipe on it, but still. Although one thing I will say is be wary of going near ramps, because I almost just fell down that trying to take my foot out. Let's maybe try like just a 180 out the flat bank. And then back, and then normal. So many 180 possibilities. Now, the thing is with this one, if you're confident enough, like if you're a bit more of an intermediate skater and you just want to have a bit of fun, you can even take it to the bowl. Oh, my foot slipped out there. Yeah, like I said, it's not perfect, but if you just want to have a bit of fun for £5, you can't really go wrong with this. Like for the Smollie, like they're nearly $30 or $35, whatever it is selling for now. I just don't think that I can recommend it. Unless of course the boys from later on in the day said that it would honestly help them, but I'm not feeling confident that they would say that, to be honest. But here's a testimonial from one of the guys learning 180s now.
It's 40 quid for that.
Maybe $40. Well, my friend, you said it very well. That's about it from me. Personally, I don't recommend it, but he might. I'll see you in the next one.